Welcome to March 8th, International Women's Day, a celebration of the struggles and history of women, especially women workers, all over the world. While we're sitting here today, there are women on strike and holding rallies and being active in 50 countries around the world and all over the United States, including Berkeley, California, where we are. We have literature to tell you about the history of Women's International Day, and we're also going to have a few speakers. We have the symbols of International Women's Day: bread, which represents the basic necessities of life, higher wages, good working conditions. But we have flowers too. It's supposed to be roses, but Darling Flowers gave us carnations instead, so you can pretend that they're roses. But the idea is we also want the right to smell the flowers, to participate in education and culture, and enjoy our lives, not just live to work. So these symbols come from a very famous strike that took place in the United States in Lawrence, Massachusetts in 1912. And after the strike was over, a song was written called Bread and Roses, and we have the words to the song on pink paper over here. So when the program is over, I invite you to please take some very good bread from either Acme Bakery or the Cheese Board, and please take a carnation and thank Darling Flowers. Okay, Jolene's going to speak next.
Hi, how's everyone? Alright, if you're listening from upper levels, come down. So this is Student for Socialism's International Women's Day Speak Out. I'm just here going to introduce the club, and then we have Ferris is going to talk about the day itself. And we have one other speaker, and then the counseling department also has some other resources to share with us. But this is an open mic, so please feel free to share how this relates to your day, to your life, to your opinions, to your ideas. The system that we live under, capitalism and patriarchy, affects us all in all different ways. So whether you're male or female or something else, you're welcome to come up and share. We're just asking people to keep their comments maybe to 3 or 4 minutes each. But Students for Socialism is a club that meets on Wednesdays in room 55 at this time. And we believe that resistance to injustice, inequality, and oppression starts right here in BCC, with all of us in this school, in this room, listening now. It's when we come together to talk about the system that we live under, to talk about the situation of the world, to talk about the news, to talk about the options for how to change, the ways that we can take action. This is when we start the resistance. But what's most important today is that we don't allow ourselves to be isolated, either by ourselves or in our own friend groups or in our own ideas. We have to expand and we have to connect with everyone around us, because this is the way that we can start to organize when ICE comes to Berkeley, when things start cracking down, when we start to resist this oppression that we're under. We need to be connected to everyone around us. So talking to our classmates before class or breaking out of our isolation is where we can start this. And events like this, where we can talk to each other and listen to each other and really understand and start to communicate with each other and build community. It's when we come together that we can really start to imagine the possibilities for change. In the system, when we're only given a couple options for taking action, it's important that we can come together and imagine a world that could be designed to suit our needs. Under capitalism, it's really about profit, and women's rights, racism, immigration, these are all just side issues in the drive for profit. Whereas when we look to a world where we could have socialism and a system that's really designed with people's needs at the heart of it, women's issues and everyone's issues would look vastly different if you have a system that's designed for childcare, that's designed for reproductive rights, that's designed against racism, that's designed to hold equality and human need at its center. So Students for Socialism is just one way to connect in BCC, to connect to what options we have for activism, what options we have to connect with each other. So I encourage you to check out our club. We have other flyers as well for that. And yeah, I'll leave it up to Ferris to open it up about International Women's Day.
So, first of all, I would just like to mention again the literature here. There is a more in-depth look at the history, but just briefly, in the late 1857, the U.S. history movement, it started with women textile workers in New York who went on strike for workers' rights, and the workers were forcibly repressed. But in 1907, it was widely commemorated and celebrated by everyone. And years later, it was official as known as International Women's Day. But the creation of this day could be traced back to 1894, where this was widely pushed by magazines issued by a women's working movement in Germany, an activist by the name of Clara Zetkin, saying that feminists, through the struggle of class against class and in a joint fight with the women of their class, sought to transcend capitalism. So in the 1900s, women in the German Social Democratic Party were holding basically conferences where all the burning issues of women's working rights were discussed. This organizational and ideological movement was turned to international socialist movements. So in 1907, the International Conference of Socialist Women convened in Germany for its first gathering, where they proclaimed the right to universal female suffrage. The struggle for franchise, the delegates insisted, was to be carried out not together with the women's bourgeoisie movement, but in close cooperation with the socialist parties. Simply put, the International Women's Day was, from the very beginning, a working women's day. While its immediate objective was to win universal female suffrage, its aspirations were much bigger: the overthrow of capitalism, the triumph of socialism, abolishing both the wage slavery of workers and the domestic slavery of women through the socialization of education and care work. So just highlighting the need for both fair wages and dignified conditions. The worker must have bread and the roses too. So, yeah.
Thank you all for coming. This International Women's Day, it's essential that we contextualize what women's issues are. The current political atmosphere thrives on division, and more than ever, we need insightful, intersectional analysis of the specific challenges we're facing. We absolutely want to encourage all of you to speak to your experiences and your truth. Most likely, what you have to say is a women's issue. An intersectional feminist framework's ultimate goal is to be all-encompassing of what struggles we're facing. Most obvious and talked about is the wage gap. The refrain goes that women make 77 cents to the dollar that a man makes. This is only true for white women. For black women, it's 65 cents. For Latinas, 58 cents. For disabled women, 23 cents to the dollar. This is especially dangerous when you consider that women are largely the driving force of their community's economy. When women earn less, whole communities suffer. Reproductive rights are under attack. With the potential gutting of the ACA, repeated misinformation campaigns carried out against Planned Parenthood, and anti-choice legislation passed all around the country, we need more than ever to fight for reproductive justice. We've seen the rise of so-called bathroom bills. These bills have largely been sold by conservative, fundamentalist Christian hate groups, scapegoating some of the most marginalized women in society, trans women. While these bills hurt all trans people, they disproportionately target trans women. Just this year, 7 trans women have been killed, all of them women of color. This is twice the average amount of trans murders in the same amount of time compared to years past. This administration and the Republican Party have set their eyes on trans women, and we must stand with them. Furthermore, under both the Obama administration and the Trump administration, we've seen the ruinous effects of mass deportation. This tears apart families, often removing mothers from their children and spouses. There's no way to completely account for the full moral weight of this. Even in our own community, ICE continues their raids. We must remain dedicated to our immigrant and undocumented communities. We also have a refugee crisis in Syria. These refugees are largely women and children. We have climate change and pollution and the water protectors that have been preying at Standing Rock. Climate change and environmental degradation harm all of us, but like many things, they disproportionately affect women, especially women of color. It's essential that we contextualize the multi-pronged attacks women are facing and the broader implications for everyone when we have systemic misogyny and violence against women. All of you have something to contribute. I'd like to open the floor for everyone to offer up their truths. Thank you.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Saba Gebre. I'm a Learning Communities Counseling Intern and Berkeley City College's Outreach Coordinator here, and this is my colleague and comrade.
Hello everyone, my name is Doris Garcia. I'm also a Learning Communities Counseling Intern here at BCC.
Yeah, and in the spirit of Women's Day, we really wanted to, and in light of the statistics, which are horrible when it comes to payment and wages, we wanted to support and facilitate services and access to training, volunteer employment services for women, really for everyone, but specifically focusing on promoting these career pathways for women at BCC. So we have here a couple of folks from organizations from across the Bay Area who have kindly came here to offer these opportunities for our Berkeley City College students. And so I'm gonna invite them to the podium now to share a little bit about what they're offering today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eileen, and I am a program director at the YWCA Berkeley, Oakland. We're located on the corner of Bancroft and Bodwich, right across from UC Berkeley. And I'm here today to let you know about our internships that we have. The YWCA's mission is to eliminate racism and empower women, so all of our internship and volunteer programs aim to do that. Today we are recruiting for our anti-human trafficking leadership internship, which aims to address the systemic sexual trafficking and labor trafficking going on here in the Bay Area. We're also recruiting for our e-racism seminar internship program, as well as promoting our career coaching programs. We have lots of other wonderful internship and volunteer programs, as well as free self-defense classes. So come talk to me and I can tell you a little bit about what we're doing at the YWCA. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sydney. I'm here tabling on behalf of the 32nd Annual Empowering Women of Color Conference. And I'm here because tomorrow we actually have our first event, which is an open mic at La Peña Cultural Center, featuring local Bay Area artists, spoken word artists, Caitlin Clark, Honey Gold, and Sarah O'Neill. So it's tomorrow, doors open at 7 p.m., La Peña Cultural Center. And next week is our conference. So that is Saturday, 18th of March, and you can register. Come see me. Thank you, bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm with Bay Area Women Against Rape, and we have a table over here with lots of resources if you want to find out about our 24-hour hotline and other services that we offer for survivors of sexual assault. Something that BayWAR does is we train 3 cohorts every year to become California State Certified Rape Crisis Counselors. So we staff the hotline, and we also provide support to survivors when they seek medical care or when they're interviewed by police. And so it's one of the most meaningful things I've done, definitely in the Bay Area, to connect to the community, learn more about how I can help survivors, and also when you join a cohort, you find out a lot about job opportunities and internships that are available in the area. So yeah, just come stop by our table and talk to us. Thanks.
Yes, I am being forced, but no. Um, Today is a good day, a blessed day. I mean, we as women, we do a lot. And don't get me wrong, men, we love you. But women, you know, if we not there to do it, it don't get done. No disrespect to men because you guys are the winners, but think about it. We women, we have the kids, we nurture them. You know, we try to guide them with the right way, the right things to do. So with today being International Women's Day, to me, that's letting us know that we need to come together. If we come together and get out there and march and speak like this, do this, there's a lot that we can accomplish. And number 45, he won't be able to stop us. He thinks he can. He has no respect for us, but we're going to make him respect us. So no matter what, get out there. I think the best way to do it is to show love. Help your sister. Help your sister with kids. You know, she may need a babysitter. You never know. We women, we know how to come together and help one another. So please, go out today, march, speak, contribute. Let's show them that a day without women is a day in hell. Excuse my language. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariela Tanning. I teach communication here. And I was just sharing with one of my colleagues about this new initiative. A group of students would like to start a club to address another important issue: emotional and psychological domestic violence. This is something that is not easily addressed today. When we talk about domestic violence, guys, we think about people getting hurt physically. We're not talking about predators. There are different labels. We can divide our male brothers from the ones who actually came from a very challenging background, but also for other individuals who are predators, like sociopaths, unfortunately. So they are starting this wonderful initiative where we can heal as a community. I really agree with you. Being a woman means being a sister, but that's not enough. Also being a mother, that's not enough. It's being a member of a community who can also empower our brothers. We need to also tell them how much we love them and the importance of inviting them to express their emotions, the importance to inviting them. The violence is unacceptable. So, guys, as a community, women today, beyond race, beyond age, it's about supporting each other and not forgetting our male brothers. So please, we're going to start in this new club where women and men, all of us, can talk about something that is not addressed: emotional and psychological domestic violence, where suddenly we can even lose our identity. It can happen to any of us. So please support us. We're going to be advertising it very soon. Feliz Día de la Mujer. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Luba and I'm here representing BCC STEM Club. And I know it's a pretty blatant fact that women in STEM are underrepresented. We have half of the jobs in America, but we only hold 24% of the STEM workforce. So I have yet to experience the STEM workforce, but I know what to expect. Reports conducted by UC Hastings College of the Law San Francisco called Double Jeopardy. It's on 4 forms of gender bias that women in STEM have to experience. So the first form that women have to go through, like when just getting a job, is to prove that they are competent. They have to show more proof that they're competent, more competent than men, to be seen as equals. This reflects a perceived stereotyping. This reflects a perceived stereotyping that reflects a lack of fit between being a woman and being a scientist. And now there's another important bias, which is the maternal wall, a form of gender bias which is triggered by motherhood, and that is the assumption pervades the workforce, where people assume that women will lose work commitment and competence once they become mothers, which is not true. Another bias is a tightrope, that There's this tightrope that women can't be seen as too feminine to be competent or too masculine to be likable. They are often backlashed from behaving stereotypically masculine, such as being too assertive or self-promoting. Women walk on a tightrope between seen as too feminine and so liked but respected, or to be too masculine and so respected but disliked. Women often find themselves pressured to take on dead-end roles from being like administrative assistants or just to mentor other people's students aside from their own. And finally, among like very many gender biases, there's a tug of war that women experience. Sometimes gender bias against women fuels conflicts amongst women within the workforces. This stems from the fact that women, as well as men, are biased against women in traditionally masculine fields. In addition, studies show that women who experience discrimination early in their careers tend to distance themselves from other women. In this tug of war, when asked whether women support each other, most respondents said yes, but black women were far less likely to agree. Only 56% did so. Latinas, 35%, were far more likely to report finding it difficult to get administrative support, personnel to support themselves in interviews. Black women also reported many instances of conflict with administrative staff. About 1/3, both black women and Asian Americans, reported a tokenism that women in their environments were forced to compete with each other for the one woman spot, as compared with roughly 1/5 of Latinas and white women and Asian Americans were far more likely than other groups to agree that some women had just turned into men. Finally, roughly 40% of all groups of women agree that some women just don't understand the level of commitment it takes to be a scientist. So I have personal experience in this because I'm taking a lot of STEM classes. I'm taking maths, computer science, and I've noticed that a minority, in all these STEM classes I'm taking, minority are girls, are women. And I think this kind of stems from like the culture, like the seeds planted into us when we're children. Like, why is it that boy toys are like Lego, science kits, and girl toys are more nurturing, like, oh, baby dolls, let's play with Barbies, right? So I think that it's just part of our culture. It's embedded in our culture that women should be more nurturing. Like boy toys kind of help develop spatial skills, which help you visualize 3D concepts. Right now, I'm in vector calculus, and I've noticed like we have to do we have to visualize lots of 3D concepts, and it's a bit difficult. So yeah, so we have to start planting seeds when we're young. Like, we should encourage girls to also play with Legos. Okay. So I would like to conclude that STEM Club will be having Pie Day next week. On the 20th, we have free pie. So it'll be irrational for you not to come to Pie Day. And while pie is infinite, slices of pie is finite.
Hello, my name is Esperanza Bay. I'm representing the BSU. Today I'm just going to say a poem called The Bridge Poem by Kate Rushin, and I feel like it really resonated with me today, being Women's Day and identifying as a black woman. So I'm just going to say a paragraph about the poem, and then I'm just going to say it. Okay? The mic? We good now? Yeah. All right. So The Bridge Called My Back is a groundbreaking anthology of writing by women of color, edited by Sherry Moraga and Gloria Anzaldúa, I think. This sweeping collection of poetry, essays, and analytic pieces gathers the voices of Black, Latina, and Native American women whose identities have forced them to the margins of racial, ethnic, and white women's movement of the previous decades. These works challenge patriarchy, misogyny, homophobia, and racism. This Bridge Called My Back is a foundational text of third-wave feminism. In it, poet Kate Rushin's The Bridge poem articulates the burden many African-American women face as a result of attempting to fulfill multiple competing roles that serve the needs of others more than themselves. All right, here it goes. I've had enough. I'm sick of seeing and touching both sides of things. Sick of being the damn bridge for everybody. Nobody can talk. Nobody. Nobody can talk to anybody without me, right? I explained my mother to my father to my little sister to my brother to the white feminists to the black church folks to the ex-hippies to the black separatists to the artists to my friends' parents. Then I've got to explain myself to everybody. I do more translating than the goddamn UN. Forget it, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of filling in your gaps. Sick of being your insurance against the isolation of your self-imposed limitation. Sick of being the crazy at your holiday dinners. Sick of being the odd one at your Sunday brunches. Sick of being the sole black friend to 34 individual white people. Find another connection to the rest of the world. Find something else to make you legitimate. Find some other way to be political and hip. I will not be the bridge to your womanhood, your manhood, your humanness. I'm sick of reminding you not to close off too tight for too long. I'm sick of mediating with your worst self on behalf of your better self. I am sick of having to remind you to breathe. Breathe before you suffocate your own full self. Forget it, stretch or drown, evolve or die. The bridge I must be is the bridge to my own power. I must translate my own fears, mediate my own weaknesses. I must be the bridge to nowhere but my true self, and then I will be useful.
It's strange to be the first male speaker. I'm Mike Noonan. I teach history here, and I want to tell just a story about my mom. So it was a story that my mom told me, I don't know when, at some point during my childhood, but it was the thing that really struck me. She was so my mom is now retired, but she was a high school teacher, biology teacher. She has her PhD in biology. She taught at Oakland High School for decades. Before she had me, she was on a trajectory towards being a hotshot scientist. That's something in the story as well. Those choices that people have to make. But the story I want to tell is that she told me about her days as an undergraduate student at UC Berkeley in the 1960s, taking biology. And my mom was always a hardworking student, much better than I was at that time. She was really going places, and she wanted to apply for a PhD program in biology, which she did and eventually got into. But when she went into her biology professor's office to ask for a letter of recommendation, he sat there writing the letter, and while he was writing it, saying, you know, you should really reconsider. Women are much better starting families. They're much better. They're not good in the sciences. They really shouldn't go on. This really isn't a place for women, but I'm writing this because you're such a good student, but. Mid-1960s. Of course, at the time, this was the period of the competition between the US and the Soviet Union. Of course, I have to bring some history into it. There was a big push to get not just women, but young people in general into science because of the space race, because of the competition between the Cold War competition. And so there was a lot of pressure, a lot of resources, a lot of possibility, and my mom, in spite of her professor's de-recommendation, got in and eventually got her PhD and went on with her life and all of the thing, you know, eventually had me and went into teaching and changed a lot of people's lives, I think, in Oakland. So the thing is, I wonder if there hadn't been that historical moment where there was a big push to put people into the sciences, if my mom would have gotten in, if she would have had the chance, if all of the discouragement that was pushing women out of science would have stopped her in her tracks. And you know, I think it just says something about how this society works, that it takes a Cold War to provide an opportunity for a young woman student who really is excelling. And you know, that's the thing. It's for sure the way patriarchy works. We know it's also the way racism works, and we know it's how a lot of things work in this society, that you're told no, and so you're blocked from developing your potential. And I think that's the thing that we really have to see, is that we have so much more potential, all of us, than we're allowed, and we have to challenge those barriers, whatever they are. So.
Hello, everyone. My name's Will. I'm a student here at BCC. I've never spoken publicly here. I don't represent anybody but myself. Thank you. I'd simply like to say that it appears to me that we live in dark times. And these times are even darker for women and those who are oppressed, those who have no voice. In order to fight this darkness, we're all personally called to be heroes. What does that mean? Sometimes it can become intimidating to join a group or to go to a protest. And God bless those people, honestly. I don't do it enough. But to be a hero, at the very minimum, is that when you see injustice, or women, or any other oppressed group suffer dehumanization, is not to stand by and let it happen. This silence is complicity. This silence is what's gotten us to where we are now. So each and every single one of you are called to be heroes and to stand up. All you need to do is, when you see some injustice occur, just question, interrogate, make it known, record, share it with your friends. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Tesfamariam, and I'm a Kenyan. I lived in the United States in the year 2009-2010 on a State Department-sponsored exchange program. And they called me back for a program in DC, and I'm visiting a family, so I thought I should join, because in my campus every year I organize International Women's Day, but I just graduated in December, and I thought because I do it every year, I will also join you guys, so thank you for having me. I'd like to share my story. I'm a Kenyan, but born to Eritrean refugees who eventually decided to settle in Kenya. My mom was a victim of gender-based violence, and growing up I was very close to my dad, so I would never understand what it meant when she would cry, and I actually didn't even know what was happening. I would just see my mom cry, and it didn't matter to me because I was very close to my dad, and my dad would tell me, don't worry, she did something wrong, and I would just kind of go along with it because my dad said it. I'm also a feminist, and it's a term that in Africa people still think if you're a feminist, you're against men. And people often say that I would end up getting married just to thinking that they're hurting me, because they think when I say a feminist, I mean I'm against men. But the exchange program was very critical for me, because I lived in Ohio with a family where my host mom was in charge. My host mom owned 7 Wendy's restaurants. And she was just, she ran everything we did, she ran our lives, and my host dad was kind of a maintenance guy who had never gone to college. So that was very different for me. The experience was very different. So when I went back, it became more aware to me that what my mom was going through was very wrong, and especially because we had moved to a new country, she didn't know anyone, and she had no way out. I work for an organization in Kenya. It's called Kenya Female Advisory Organization, that helps to promote human rights, to reduce the ignorance of human rights, create equality and equal opportunities. I'm also involved in a program called Pro Empowerment Foundation, Pro Empowerment Initiative, that helps women who are victims of gender-based violence and women who are infected or affected by HIV and AIDS. And we try and empower them economically. And also a very critical aspect that someone had mentioned before was that people often forget that violence doesn't have to be physical. Sometimes it's mental, it destroys your self-esteem, it destroys your existence, and you feel like you don't even exist. So we try to come up with a program that can help these women eventually try to get rid of this sense of low self-worth before we empower them so that they can move on with their lives. I'm also working on an initiative. It's called She's Able, and maybe you guys don't experience this, but women and girls with disability in Africa really have a challenge. Mostly because they experience discrimination on threefold. They're poor, they can't work, they're women, and they're also impaired. So it's very hard for them, and most of them also they are 3 times more risk of being victims of sexual and gender-based violence than a regular woman, but no one ever speaks to them. Most communities believe that they're a curse and tend to hide them. I am glad to be part of this meeting today because I have seen the difference of where we are in the world in terms of women empowerment, whereby in Africa women are still fighting to be represented in parliaments, in decision-making forums. Women themselves have not believed that they have the rights, and they take part in shutting down other women. And in America, we are fighting for equal wages. It's enlightening to know that there are women who are conscious about it and they're actually fighting towards it. And I would like to thank you for being part of the movement to help women worldwide. Thank you.
Ladies, gentlemen, good afternoon. It's good to be here. Happy International Women's Day. My name is Wayne, and I'm from Kenya like you. Great to have someone from home out here. Now, my story is also related to women. My entire life, my entire being, my existence is all thanks to a woman who's my mother. She is back home in Kenya. She's retired right now. And through her prayers, through her supports, through her selflessness, I have been able to come this far, and I'm now in college taking a great course, and I'm going to do great things, not only for the women, but for my people back home and the less developed areas of this world. But what I want to say this afternoon is that the problems that women are facing in this world today are complex. They're not easy to deal with. They're not easy to understand. And if you're not aware, if you're not conscious of your surrounding, you might live every day going with your business, not thinking about these challenges. So forums like this, where we are here, sat down, talking about women, let them inspire you to do more for the cause that we are talking about today. Let them inspire you to do something for that woman in your life, because each and every one of us here has been affected by a woman. That is for sure. And women are the driving force. So if you're a man here, sometimes it's good to sit back, let the women take charge, let them lead the way, because they know better. They know better, they do better, all right? Thank you very much.
Nobody else wants to speak? Maybe you would prefer to speak more informally. So if that's the case, please help yourself to bread and to flowers and to literature and talk with each other for a few minutes and celebrate the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming out for our Employer Industry Day. The cyber security program here at Merit, we're in our 2nd year, and we're very proud of this particular juncture in our development of this program. Aside from myself, the 2 key industry partners that were pivotal in getting together this program was Mark Egan and Jim Cates from the CISC Educational Fund Group. They'll come up shortly, and I will introduce them. But I want to say thank you all for coming. So since we're on a tight schedule, and I've actually had the agenda projected for you now, we've got to make it by 1 o'clock because Congressman Ro Khan is going to teleconference into us, and we have to be on time for that. So without further ado, I'd like to call up our Chancellor, Chancellor Joel Laguerre, and in turn, he will welcome you to the district and introduce the trustees that are here. I know I've seen one.
On behalf of our board, our faculty, our students, staff throughout the district, I want to welcome you to this first annual cybersecurity convention, or whatever we will call it, at Merritt College. We have our two trustees, Trustee Bill Withrow and Trustee Karen Weinstein, who will greet you as well later. So I want to thank them for the support that they provide to you all. One thing that I want to share with you is that there are people that I consider as not only pioneers but also saints of Peralta. One of them is the person you just heard from, Miss Anita Black, who is a retired faculty and administrator in the district. She really didn't have to come back and help us start a cybersecurity program. However, because it is in her heart, because it is her mission to make sure that young people do well, that our employers get the employees that they need, she returned from, while she's still a retiree, she has come back and has helped us with this program. Having a program at the community college is something that's very difficult to make sure that it succeeds, because as a new program at a college is like a new child who shows up in a family of many children. All of the siblings are looking and see which one is going to get less food to go to this new child. And so you have to fight really hard as the mother of the program to make sure that your program gets what it needs in order to succeed. And that is exactly what Ms. Black has done for us for the cybersecurity program that is really developing into one of the best programs, not only at the college, the district, the state, but also the nation. So, Anita, I want to express our sincere gratitude to you for what you have done, and please join me in thanking Anita for what she's done. I don't want to call one of them the father of the program, the other one the mother of the program, but the other person that we are so indebted to is Jim Cates. When he set up a time to come and chat with me about the program over a year ago, I didn't quite understand why he was so devoted to the program. To start with, I thought that he was an employee of the district, and only to learn that not only do we not pay him anything to be an advocate for the program, we actually charge him because he gets money out of his pocket to help the program succeed. And then he goes around and recruits his friends, and some of them he probably threatens if they have to help the program. So he is another saint, another angel for this program. And Jim, from the bottom of my heart, for the love that you have for the young people in this community, for the businesses in the community, for the security of our nation, I want to say thank you for all you do for the program. I can only pledge to the two of you that as Chancellor, I will do everything that I can to make sure that we continue to support the program, that when it all said and done, that the program will continue to have the resources that it needs in order to be successful. So I want to welcome you all and want to say thank you to Courtney, who is our wonderful faculty member for the program, the first one. Anyway, we couldn't pay him enough to be our faculty. And I want to say thank you, Courtney, for this sacrifice that you are making to make sure that our students get what they need in order to be wonderful cybersecurity professionals in the field. So thank you again. And at this point, I'll invite Trustee Withrow to say hello to everyone, and followed by Trustee Weinstein.
Hello. My name is Bill Withrow. I'm a trustee in my 13th year with Peralta. Trustees represent the community colleges, especially in our district, but we also represent the 650,000 constituents that we have in our service area. But beyond that, and especially as a business guy, I look at it from the standpoint of our contribution to society and the contribution in terms of timing. And this particular subject is absolutely on mark from the standpoint of what the country needs throughout the country. And I'm very proud that one of our colleges is taking the lead. It's an area, it's not an easy area. I'm president and CEO of a company called PairTrack Security Systems, and we have state-of-the-art, very intelligent people working. But what we don't have is the ability, I feel, the ability to take very, very intelligent people, focused people in the electronics area, and talk to people who aren't real knowledgeable and experts. And to have a program like this at a community college level, whether they're fed into the four-year degrees at the CSU or the UC level, or other focused colleges, or leaving with an AA and going in as a technical type, I think it's very valuable for the, not only for the students themselves, but for the community and for the industry and for national security. I'm a retired Navy captain, and I can tell you that there are just a lot of times that I reflect back on our lack as a country of security in terms of the cyber area, if you will. It's very, very important. So thank you very much for all of you that are participating, for participants that are coming here from industry. Thank you for committing the time and looking at what we have. And hopefully you're going to be looking at the students that we have graduating from here and spread the word of mouth among your colleagues. Thank you.
Trustee Karen Weinstein, you have some brief words?
Ooh, I have to get taller. Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Karen Weinstein, and as Bill Withrow said, he's here 13 years. I've been here 2 months. I am the new trustee on the block, and so I'm excited actually to be here. My goal is to get to know the students, get to know the faculty members, the administrators, and the colleges. And every time I come to Merritt College, I am just amazed, number one, at how beautiful it is. It's just an extraordinary campus. And I'm excited to be here today because I just think this is the most timely program that there is going on in the colleges. I mean, this is cybersecurity. What are we talking about? What's going on TV? What's going on in our nation? So I'm someone who pays attention to politics and the government, And so I'm particularly excited that this program exists here. I'm happy that industry is here, working with faculty and students to make this really successful. And I just look forward to really learning about this program and being as supportive and as available and accessible as I can be. So thank you very much.
President Burns.
Good afternoon. Again, I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of our faculty, staff, and students and administrators to Merritt College. I too am very thankful to the group of people who initiated and started this program. As our chancellor mentioned, I work with people on this campus who are so passionate and committed to the students here at the college and in our community. But this group of people are like a pit bull with bone. And I say that with, no, really. I mean, they lock on. They are so passionate. Mr. Jim Cates, Mr. Mark Egan, Dr. Anita Black, Professor Courtney Brown, and so many others. But they are so committed and so focused on this particular program for our students and for our community. You couldn't find any commitment more worthy of noting that. And I appreciate what they do, what they go through. It doesn't always work out really smoothly, but they're still not giving up because they know what our community needs, they know what our students need, they know what this country needs. And to you, I want to say thank you for being here because you're showing your commitment and interest as well. And together with the Peralta Community College District, Merritt College, this program, and our community, you're helping us bring to them something they very much need. Many of our students aren't exposed to cybersecurity and some of the other new trends in STEM. But they do know Facebook, they do know all these kinds of things, LinkedIn and Snapchat and all of that. I won't go any further because that's for the younger kids. But anyway, my point is now they understand when they see that Facebook is having issues with cybersecurity, it's now becoming a little bit more personal. They're now understanding what that means. And now they can relate. And if you've ever been on a community college campus or out in our community here, you can see the lights go on. Now they're saying, oh, they're connecting the dots. And you can help us continue that effort for our folks in the community to connect the dots, to get involved in STEM and cybersecurity in particular, especially. And that will help us, because it's going to be a win-win for all the partners involved, particularly for our country. And I think that's what's really important. So together with all of you, business and industry, with the Peralta Community College District, with Merritt College, and our students, it's going to be a win-win situation. And as we say here at Merritt College, we're here because we change lives. And together we're going to do that. Thank you.
All right, before I bring up the other third spoke in the initial wheel for the development of the program, I wanted to recognize the cybersecurity staff that are here, especially the full-time faculty member that's going to carry this ball once it's totally institutionalized by the three main members that started off, and that's Courtney Brown. Do we have any of the other faculty? Are they up here now? Because today is our teaching day. Monty, would you want to stand? That is Monty, right? Yep. Any other teaching faculty? Would you all like to please stand? Our motto for this program is quite unique as well. We offer our classes in 6-week sessions, Friday only, all day. Labs are virtual through the new consortium grant through the Bay Area Community College Consortium known as Net Labs. Also, other labs through Amazon, and Mark will tell you a little bit more about that, has provided our students with simulation labs as well. So, I think I better get Jim up here in order for us to keep on our timetable. Jim Cates will welcome you and explain a few little other things.
Good afternoon. So I represent CISE, stands for Consortium Information System Executives. And it's about 30 executives network of us that have existed in the Valley for about 10 years. And collectively over the years, we've donated $750,000, $800,000 to colleges via endowments. And so when we came to the community colleges, we worked with four-year colleges, we worked with high schools, and now this is our time to work with community colleges. And so when I came here and I met Professor Black, she was telling me she was just leaving. She says, well, we'll take your endowment, but it would be nicer if you helped us kind of redesign our IT department. And so I went back and talked to Mark and talked to some of the CISE executives, and I said, is this something we really want to do? You know, none of us are specialists in education world. And so we took that on, and that was April 2014. First thing we found out was that we had to get a degree. It wasn't a cybersecurity degree. And then we talked to about 30 companies, including the companies in CISE, working out the requirements that we needed. Then we had to translate that into the format that worked well for state degree to be approved, which I really didn't know anything about, and I found out that's a lot of work. So they told us it was going to take us about 4 years to do that. So you guys, other words, you ought to forget it. So Mark and I being corporate types, and my background has been R&D and IBM, so I'm used to taking on things that people say are kind of impossible. But this program has gone very well due to Mark and my effort, and the way we have the split is that he runs the Knowledge Factory, which has taken us about 2 years to get that together with no money. So we kind of went to talk to our network and convince people that it was give back time. And we actually have 50 to 100 people in the Valley helping us teach these classes. And so we do team teaching, which Mark can talk more about, but basically in these 6-week sessions, we're moving really fast because you only get 30 units. The other 30 units, if they get a degree, is general education. So we had to pack everything that the companies had told us they needed into these 30 units.